Hello, good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Elephant in the Room. And here's my co-host, Taranjeet. How are you, Taranjeet, today?
Very well. Very well. Thank you, Mihan. Absolutely brilliant. It's a fantastic day. And it's great to be back. We've got a wonderful experience before us for the next 30 minutes. So let's see what the next 20 minutes has in mind.
Cool. So as we were saying yesterday and this week, we are very exciting because we're starting today. We are not only just doing Malaysia, we are going regional, and not only just regional, we are going to the different continents. And this evening, we have the proud pleasure to have a gentleman with us all the way from Cairo, Dr. Tarek Dessouki, which I will get Taranjeet to introduce him right now. Go ahead, man.
Thank you, Mihan. So a couple of things have been playing out over the last 3 weeks since we've been on air, and the whole idea is the implications of COVID-19, the implications of what this has had on businesses. And we've talked a lot about that from Malaysia and Singapore through our guest, Dr. Michael Heng, as well as with Sushil Singh. One of the things that now comes up to mind is, how does this now look like in Egypt, in North Africa? We hardly hear anything about that. We are not comfortable. We're not open to these thoughts here. So let's hear what this has in store for us in terms of businesses, in terms of SMEs. And to help us address these questions, we have Dr. Tarek Dessouki. Dr. Tarek was the first Adidas franchisee out in Egypt, and this was way back in the 1990s. He has had over 35 years worth of experiences in a variety of fields, whether it be telco, whether it be oil and gas, FMCG, multimedia, as well as education, and more recently, professional services. Dr. Tarek is a recipient of many distinguished awards and a keynote speaker around the African continent, be it Kenya, Rwanda, Zambia, and more recently, he was awarded Best HR Leader in Egypt several years ago. Dr. Tarek has been actively involved in several business opportunities here in Southeast Asia as well, specifically in Indonesia, Philippines, and also in Malaysia. So he completely understands the nuances that are playing out. Dr. Tarek is the managing director of VIA LLG, a US-based business consulting firm, and oversees EMEA for the company. Dr. Tarek, welcome to Elephant in the Room.
Hello, Dr. Tarek. How are you? Okay, unmute him. Yes, sorry. Can you hear us, Dr. Tarek?
I can hear you, yeah.
Cool.
Thank you, Dr. Tarek. Thank you for joining us. Let's start this off, Dr. Tarek, with always it's good to start off with a big picture question. How do you see the business landscape given COVID-19 being impacted by all of this in Egypt and in North Africa as a whole?
Well, I see it's a very positive impact, and I really like this positive impact very much. I don't see that much of negative impacts at all.
Wow, that is really interesting. Now, a lot of people we spoke to have been talking about doom and gloom, and you are one individual who talks about the positive aspect. Please share with us, Dr. Tarek. What are your views around this? Why is it so positive?
This is the very kick-off for boom and bloom theory. In 2007, 2008, when the economy was the downturn of the economy in the States, we did not correct it rightly. I mean, for the SMEs and all the kind of business. Now it's time for those castle of sands on the shore to be waved away, and we start with the well-structured companies and well-known and well-visionary business based on the quantity versus quality that we are always missing. The quality of the workers, I mean the manpower, will be changed dramatically after this, which is into the favor of the change the business model. The business model needs to be shaped very strongly like this, because it was a very monotonous and it was very systematic and slow motion process for the business, and you know, the needs are there to feed all the business owners, not to change and not to go to dramatic change to change the business. Now it's like a do or die process, and that will provoke and wake up all the business, especially in the SMEs, to move towards a better business. Only those who survive, that will be like maybe 5 to 7 to 10% of the companies, will be the multinational companies that they have a very well structured and they can meet this crisis. Other than that, all will be sweeping away.
Good perspective, Dr. Tarek, and really like that positiveness, which is very different, like Taranjeet said, because we have always been hearing the gloom, and I think you put it in a very apt Lee. So maybe before I proceed further, I just again like to say hello for those who have just joined us. Elephant in the Room is our daily talk show where we ask all the tough questions to give you the insights from sectors, from industry, and now this week we are doing regions as well. So we are very proud to have with us Dr. Tarek Dessouki, all the way calling in from Cairo to give us a perspective of things happening in Egypt as well as in the Northern American region. We would really like to invite all of you to actually put questions on the comment section so that we can have a fruitful debate today, although we have prepared something together with Dr. Tarek, but nothing beats it from getting your questions because we want to serve your needs in that sense. All right, maybe to kick the show further on, Dr. Tarek, may I ask, in that perspective, what will be the one or two things that you see happening very, very differently since the start of, let's say, the lockdown period or even the spread of COVID, let's say 2 months ago, happening in Egypt and Northern Africa?
Well, emerging the new techniques of doing work like work from home. You know, you don't have to waste 3 to 4 hours going to your house and coming back. The stark naked truth that we all have overbased staff. I mean, we have overstaffing, and that drain and exhaust the resources of the company. Now we see that the business can do with a little manpower but highly skilled. So in terms of the quantity and the quality, we require in this area, and the post COVID-19, we will require highly skilled people with the less quantity. That will leave us in a very uncomfortable zone, that we really need to have a plan to train those who are unskilled, and we don't need them in the post-COVID era for the business. We don't need them. It's over.
Okay, this is very interesting because you're touching on the area of productivity. You're touching on the area of organizational productivity and how do people actually manage that from a capability and a capacity perspective. What are the implications on Egypt, the workforce in Egypt? Do you have, in Cairo, for example, do you have the capabilities to drive this higher thinking, higher order jobs? Or will there be unemployment coming into play, Dr. Tarek?
Well, what I'm gonna say, most of the Egyptians will not even like it, especially the government. But I'm self-trained to say what's inside me. Unless you object, then I will follow you. But since, I mean, I have the freedom to say, the concept of business and the concept of doing business and the concept of employment itself, it's not there. We're a very rich country, and the tendency to work, first of all, we don't have any unemployment, because it's going to be very weird to find people sitting down in the coffee shop and claiming that they are unemployed. Meantime, the factory is needing some manpower, but there is no match, because the manpower here, they are graduated from the faculties and they want to work carrying the Samsonite and carrying the laptop. While the factories, they need laborers, blue collars, or even light blue collars, and the specifications that they want are not really there in the market. And the specifications and features that they have, I mean, those graduates have, they don't really, there is no need for them there. So this is what called fake unemployment in Egypt. There is no balance. The equilibrium
Yes.
is not there at all. So
Yes.
instead of crying wolf on the unemployment, we have to train those people on to be skilled to meet the post COVID-19, because we need them, but with the
Yes.
different specific skills scheme. This is what we don't
Good.
have, and this is
Good.
there is no vision for this.
No, this is absolutely good. And I'm glad that you're talking about that, because that is the elephant in the room in Egypt. So I'm glad you're raising this. The question then comes out is, if you do have these sort of issues, how are we now going to address it? Are there any steps being taken? Are there any stimulus packages being given to support the government, to support employment, as well as the people who are impacted by this?
Well, in the government, they did some strides. They went so far to try to solve this problem, especially the current government, which I'm not really hypocritical, but they tried. But my point of view as an expert in this, or as a one who understands this, is that they are trying in the wrong direction. Why? Because first of all, they have to have a set of a compensable. I mean, the competency should be there to prepare those overstaffing in the governmental areas to be working in the private sector with the certain competencies and certain capabilities that they have to be prepared for. Although that it's so hard to train those people on the attitude of the business in the private sector, but we should take this path, because in the 19s, when we have this privatization process, we ended up like a disaster, because we gave up the non-productive stuff in the governmental factories. We give it to the private mentality, the private sector mentality, which they didn't really match. And there was no backup plan, and there was no preparation plan. So it ended up like miserably, you see. So my point is, now we have to learn from this process of privatization and go with the economy. Is what do these investors need? So for them to bring, and not only the investors, the internal investors are much more important than the external ones. I'll tell you, I'll give you a very vivid example. When the government tried to open the second canal of Suez, they tried to go to the Arab countries, they tried to get loans and whatever I call it, even begging money. And those people there in the Arab country, in the Arab Gulf area, they gave us their backs. And then the president went to the nation and said, Egyptians, I want to have the second channel the second Suez Canal. And this is, that the most important canal in the world for the trade. It reached the south with the, Australia up to the States, passing by Europe. So we are holding the 5 continents. And then you know what? $8 billion has been offered to the government in 5 days. 90% of these $8 million are not from the bank.
Amazing.
Informal economy is much more stronger than the formal economy. The people know how to manage their money, and the government doesn't know how.
Crazy. So thank you. I think that was a very, very good insight and a very good analogy, and I think our audience really enjoy that perspective, because without having you in the country, we wouldn't know such things. Just before I continue, I just wanted to take a moment to welcome those who have just joined us, and also do a shout out to all of them. So thank you once again to join us in this Elephant in the Room show, co-hosted by myself, Muihan, and my co-host Taranjeet Singh. And today we have the pleasure of hosting Dr. Tarek Dessouki all the way from Cairo to tell us about COVID-19 impact towards the Egyptian and Northern African, I keep saying American, I don't know why, African businesses in that sense, all right? So I just wanted to quick shout out, hello, Dr. Mike, welcome back, okay? And also we have this Edsa Nasa, I think she knows you, Dr. Tarek, Zorab, thanks for tuning in, okay? Jack, thanks for tuning in. Okay, I think we got one question here from Dr. Mike from Singapore. So Dr. Mike wanted to know, has the crisis of COVID promoted peace and stability in the Middle East, or has it not? Right. So maybe you want to take that question.
I will not really answer this question because I feel very very taken aback by this one. Can you read it?
Yes, Blood and Oil, by Michael Clare, right?
So since there is no use of the oil and the oil vessels are stranded somewhere and the oil barrel became negative now, I mean, from $100 now it's negative. So I think the bloodshed is being restrained. That's the book. It's not me who wrote it, and it's somebody from the I think this Michael Clark is an American one, and he's the one who author of Resources Wars. So of course that implies instability and peace because everybody's igniting everybody for the oil. Now there is no oil, so there is peace.
Very good.
Look at Iran, look at Saudi, Gulf, and Kuwait, and all those oil producers. They are now in peace. Yes, there is a big problem in the economy that there is no cash in, but there is peace out.
Very good. That is excellent. Dr. Michael Heng also raised this question: has the COVID-19 crisis challenged traditional social relations or relationships rather in the Egyptian society? Has there been an impact on this?
Somehow the Egyptians, by history, since 7,000 years ago, they are rebellious. So whatever the government is saying, you stay home, we don't stay home. So there is not much social impact in this. But we are staying home more than before, but not really completely staying home. You can see people, yeah.
So it's interesting because Malaysians are the same. We had a movement control order for the last 44 days or thereabouts. And on Monday, it was released a little bit. And today you see people in their in the malls and in the shopping malls queuing up. And, and I'm thinking to myself, look, guys, we need to balance this out. We need to manage social distancing. So I don't think the Egyptians are alone here, Dr. Tarek. It's the rest of the world as well.
We are in the same stadium.
Absolutely. We're in the same stadium watching the same football. Yes, absolutely. Yes. Can I ask you?
No. We are in the same stadium playing.
Oh, absolutely. I love it.
We're in the playground. No. We're in the playground.
I love it. Yeah. Let's go on to the next question. And I think this will be a big one. How do you see the IR4 and the complexity of work changing now with Egypt and the type of things that Egypt now is looking at driving towards? The type of opportunities that are now going to be available over the next 9 to 12 months, the next 24 months. What are your views on that, sir?
If we don't learn how to make use of this crisis as an opportunity, we will never rise up again.
Okay.
That applies in the whole world. There is a lot of opportunities. The thing is that we as Egyptians and nation and government, we are both in the same boat, that we have to exploit and use the resources that we have and foresee clearly the changes in how the business models are now. Because if we don't really innovate at this time, we will evaporate.
Yes.
So the thing is, there is a lot of the geographical site of Egypt will help so much to stretch hands between Europe and our brothers in Africa. We are the main gate and the north main gate to Europe through and to the Gulf area, and all this. We have a great responsibility towards our brothers and sisters in Africa, and we are Africans, of course. We understand the culture because this is our culture as well. And we really have the resources and the minds and although that the educational system is not really up to date, but it's much more into the area of helping the others and a role model of win-win situation between Egypt and the other neighboring countries up to South Africa down there.
Cool. So I wanted to ask this question because I think I've been prompting this, and personally, I think when I talked to you a few days back, over the weekend, I prompted this to you as well. And also yesterday, I had this idea. So if you're saying that it's such a good time to explore, especially things are so different and best time to be innovative, think out of the box, and things are changing.
Sorry, Johan. The most important in this area is we are getting out of the comfort zone by force.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I wanted to maybe challenge that thought, and also maybe then you'll be the right person. I wanted to ask, in their opinion, if let's say the Malaysian entrepreneurs or the Singaporean entrepreneurs that we are very comfortable in this region were to actually explore towards Northern Africa as well as to explore in Egypt itself, what would, in the next maybe 3 to 6 months as a period, what be the 1 or 2 advice that you want to give them to say that how should we start, where should we go, and what do we do in that sense?
Well, I guess that since both parties are affected, like the Malaysian or let's say the C countries and the African countries, the Southeast Asia countries and African countries, we have a lot to collaborate to overcome the negatives and not really the negatives, to highlight the positives of the post COVID-19 era, because there is a very clear need for the technology and the ITC, the IT and communication technologies in these areas. Plus, these areas have a very resourceful in terms of the minerals and the things that the technology needs, like in different metals and all these resources. So I think we should come up with understanding on a tat-a-tat basis. It's like equal basis to help each other. It's not that people have resources so the other ones are invading them with the technology. It's not invading at all. It's a collaboration, cooperation, and integration. So if we highlight those 3 concepts of cooperation, collaboration, and integration, we will reach something that will be role model of win-win situation. If somebody looks at the other one as an inferior in this equation, we will never reach anything.
Very good. Absolutely brilliant. Muihan, do we have any other comments from? There we go. We have Anosh coming in from, I believe you know her, Dr. Tarek. Anosh Abdallah.
Ines.
Who else do we have? There we go. From Gret. She says, Dr. Tarek, we're all proud of you. Very nice. There is also one from our good friend Zorab. There we go. What are the opportunities ahead for cross-boundary collaboration? And Dr. Tarek, you've just mentioned about that. You talked about the fact that we are able to go out there to collaborate. And this was raised earlier as well. Let's use these opportunities to make the sum of the 2 even greater than just the 2 themselves. And what are the first entry businesses? This was something that was raised by Michael Heng. So in your mind, what would be the 1 or 2 things that we could be looking at from a sectoral perspective, if at all?
Number 1, food industry, not the preserved and processed, no, food in general. And number 2, textile. We are very good in cotton. We are number 1 in cotton in the world. When you say Egyptian cotton, that means you're talking quality.
Got you. All right. So we are already cognizant of time. We are already hitting almost the end of the session. Thank you very much, Dr. Tarek, for your time and your effort here. Muihan, back to you, sir.
Okay. So thank you. We had so much fun talking to Dr. Tarek, giving us the Egyptian perspective. All right. Really, this is a legendary that I think Egypt has such a strong history that I think globally we all admire Egyptian history, no matter where you're from. That's why making your way to the pyramids is always a must for all of us in that sense.
We are all pharaohs.
Or all pharaohs. Okay, just wanted to quickly just share what is coming up next in our series tomorrow. So tomorrow we have the great pleasure of hosting Vertica Verma Kohli all the way from New Delhi. So we also wanted to get the perspective and the understanding of what is happening in India. Okay, so that will be on at 6 p.m. Usual time. And on Thursday, we have the kind opportunity to talk to Rifki. Okay, and then Rifki will be calling in from Jakarta. Maybe Taranjeet, you want to give some background about Rifki, since I think you worked with him before?
Absolutely. He's indeed a very dear friend, a business associate. We've worked together in the past. I've had the pleasure of working with him on several projects. It'll be an interesting opportunity to hear what Jakarta is going through as well, the whole Indonesian experience. And that then will lead us on to Friday with Taranjeet Singh, and he'll be talking to us from Melbourne. So the whole idea is this coming couple of days, we're going to spread the globe, at least the southern part of it, and we're looking at different facets of how the COVID-19 has impacted us positively, as how Dr. Tarek had mentioned, and I love the optimism and the enthusiasm that he has brought to the table, and also from a perspective of the reality on the ground in terms of other things that are playing out. Muihan, back to you.
Cool. So we have come to the end of the show, and we thank you so much for your support, especially those tuning in from Egypt and Africa. Love to see you first time on the show.
Thank you so much.
We are so glad if you can join us for the next few days. For the world, for those who are not watching in Singapore or Malaysia, our show starts at 10 a.m. GMT, Greenwich Median Time at 10 o'clock in the morning. So you can tune in on Facebook Live on this page itself. So thank you very much to all who have just tuned in. We hope to see you again tomorrow, where we have a different perspective from the South Asian continent, all the way from New Delhi. And with that, I'll leave you off. Stay safe. Stay at home if can, and as well for those who are fasting, selamat berbuka puasa. Have a great feast ahead, and see you again tomorrow. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.